My neighbor used my yard as a dump until I fought back for the past 3 years. I've been dealing with a nightmare neighbor. An old man lives next door. After his wife passed away, younger people from the projects who aren't related to him moved in. They don't pay rent and seem to be taking advantage of him. Despite them, the old man has been the biggest problem. My house sits farther back from the road, and I can see into their backyard from my front door. The old man drives down my driveway and across my yard to get closer to his front door when unloading groceries. I asked him to stop 3 times. After he ignored me again, I taped a note to his door threatening to call the police. He did it again, so I called. The police told him to stop, and thankfully, he hasn't done it since. Then I installed Ring cameras and caught something worse. He rode his lawnmower across my yard into my woods and dumped a large box TV just a few feet in. Instead of putting it by the curb for free recycling, he decided my property was a landfill. I took pictures and reported it. The police charged him with littering and trespassing and told him to remove it properly. If he sets foot on my property again, he'll face criminal mischief charges. This wasn't the first police encounter at his place. Last year, I woke up to 10 cop cars outside. Turns out the people living with him were dealing drugs. Everyone. But the old man was arrested. They were recently released and now they're back. A week ago, he left a handwritten note on my door, threatening to sue if I didn't trim branches from a tree on my property that drops leaves into his yard. I checked local laws and spoke to the police. Legally, he's allowed to trim anything hanging over his property line, but I'm not required to do anything. The police told me he was just bitter over being reported and likely wouldn't follow through. The tree is healthy and doesn't hang over anything that could cause damage. If it ever did, insurance would handle it. I'm not playing his games anymore. If he had spoken to me respectfully, I might have considered trimming it. But threats? Absolutely not. I've spoken with other neighbors. They say things were fine until his wife died. Now, with drug dealers and trespassers next door, I regret buying this house. The neighborhood is great except for that one house. June 3rd update. The TV has been removed. I've done nothing about the tree, nor have I heard anything more, unless something drastic happens. This will be my last update. I'm a quiet guy. I keep to myself. I just want peace in my own home. But this mess won't end until I move, or they do. Would you have handled this differently? Any advice? I haven't gotten any more notes on my door or anything in my mailbox. Just as we suspected. All bark, no bite. He was angry that I got him in trouble and tried to intimidate me, but it didn't work. He's since removed the TV from my property. I never saw it by the curb, so maybe he tossed it into his woods. Either way, it's gone and not my business anymore. I confirmed with the police that he's been officially trespassed. They told me that the day he removed the TV was the last time he or anyone from that house is legally allowed on my property. He understood this thanks to commenters. I also went to our township's Office of Aging, our version of Adult Protective Services, and filed a report. I gave them everything. Footage of him struggling to climb stairs to leave the note. Another of him chasing a squirrel on a lawn mower into my yard. And even the raid footage from when his housemates were arrested for dealing drugs. I gave names, provided by a police friend who's helped me. The woman at the office submitted my report to their investigation unit, but told me I wouldn't get an update unless they need more info. All I can do is hope it helps. For me and for him. To summarize, the TV is off my property. They've been legally trespassed. Their legal threats were bluffs. No one's driven across my yard since they feel better. Hopefully this is the last. I'll deal with them. But if anything else happens, I'll post again. Huge thanks to everyone who suggested reporting to the Office of Aging. I wouldn't have thought of that myself. Fingers crossed he gets the help he needs. And I get the peace I've been hoping for. Now. For something completely different and personal. This next part is about my dad. I 24F live with my parents while I finish paying off college. My job involves handling confidential letters from clients. Since my parents live far from a post office, I have my mail sent to their home. The problem, my dad always opens my mail. It started in high school. Any letter or card addressed to me, he'd open it. If there was money, he'd keep it safe until I asked for it back. He even opened my college acceptance letter and called to congratulate me while I was still at work. He'd also open my packages, sometimes even using the items inside. I talked to my mom, who said she'd speak to him. He'd stop for about a week, then go right back to doing it. When I started working, I warned him that some of my mail was legally confidential. He said he understood. Then, one day, he walked into my room with opened client letters and tried to talk to me about them. I ignored him. After work, I yelled at him for violating my client's privacy. He got defensive and said that since I live in his house, any mail delivered there belongs to him. I was furious, so I decided to be petty. I went through his mail. That's when everything came crashing down. I found credit card statements appointments for fancy restaurants and jewelry, places he never took my mom. Then I found a letter from a woman saying how tired she was of hiding their relationship and how desperate she was for his replies. The return addresses were disguised as banks or credit card companies. When my dad realized the mailbox was empty, he rushed into the house and found me and my mom reading the letters together. She calmly asked me to leave the house, so I went to stay with my aunt for a couple of days. When I came back, my dad's things were gone. My mom told me she asked him to leave and is now speaking with a divorce attorney. Turns out the mistress was a family friend. My mom had taken photos of every letter before confronting him. She reached out to the mistress's husband, let's call him Henry, and sent him the proof. He filed for divorce too. Henry and my mom have since become close friends as they navigate all of this. It's not romantic, just mutual support between two people betrayed by their spouses. The mistress had been financially dependent on Henry, and now she's angry at my dad for being so careless. Apparently, she still tries to contact him, but he can't support her lifestyle. She's regretting everything now, just like my dad. Meanwhile, my dad hasn't apologized to me for opening my mail. Instead, he's left voicemails blaming me for ruining everything, then switching to crying and saying he regrets it all. I haven't responded. He disrespected my privacy, violated legal boundaries, and betrayed both me and my mom Dot as for the money from my gift cards growing up. I suspect he may have skimmed off the top and used some of it to help fund his affair. He'd often give me only part of what I was gifted, and it makes sense now considering the expensive things he was buying behind our backs. I've since made sure all my work correspondence is either digital or delivered to my job directly. I've drawn hard lines with my mom too. She understands and has been supportive. For now, I'm still living with her and helping her navigate the legal side of things, but I plan to move out soon. I need my own space and peace. This whole thing started because I was trying to get back at my dad for violating my boundaries, but instead of a petty win, I uncovered something serious, and I don't regret it. The truth was always going to come out. At least now, my mom knows, and I can start rebuilding trust and privacy on my own terms. It's been a full year since everything happened, and I wanted to share an update. A few months after my original post, my mom sat me and my younger sister Rachel to OF down to talk. She said she was considering going on a date with Henry, the ex-husband of my dad's mistress. We were thrilled. Now, nearly a year later, they're still together, and honestly, I've never seen our mom happier. Henry treats her with respect, love, and kindness, all things my father never really gave her. She's gone from being quiet and unsure to strong, glowing, and confident. As for my father, Jerry, and his mistress, Martha, they rushed into marriage shortly after my mom and Henry started dating. Neither of their families supported the relationship, and they both ended up as the black sheep. They even tried to sue my mom and Henry for money, but the case went nowhere. I didn't keep in touch with Jerry, apart from the occasional text, usually just him asking for money. The last straw was when he began harassing Rachel, calling and texting nonstop, even showing up at her college until the dean had him escorted off campus. That's when mom filed a harassment protection order. Now, Jerry can only contact us in emergencies, and we haven't heard from him since. But Martha didn't stop. Turns out, she's pregnant and wants expensive everything. Jerry's been scrambling to keep up. When we cut off contact, she started harassing Rachel, and one day even showed up at our house demanding to speak to Henry, claiming he abandoned a poor pregnant woman. Henry wasn't having it. He calmly opened the door, looked Martha dead in the eyes, and said, "Was it not cruel to cheat on your husband who gave you a mansion, designer bags, luxury cars, vacations, and love? You don't get to call me cruel after using me for years. And you're lucky I never asked for anything back." Then he shut the door. Martha lost it. She even pretended her water broke, using a hidden water bottle. The police were called and escorted her to the hospital. Thankfully, our Ring doorbell footage showed the whole thing, and we were able to explain the situation. We're doing well now. My mom is stronger than ever. Henry has been a blessing in our lives, and Rachel and I are healing. Thank you all so much for the kindness and support you gave me throughout this entire nightmare. I truly hope none of you ever have to go through something like this.